Three, two.
Hi everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm so delighted to share with you guys again once a week on our lively coverage. And today our topic will be: is there a soft landing in the real estate market right now? So I'm very delighted to choose TJ, who is one of our realtor in our brokerage. Okay, and he's also a seasoned investor. So TJ, time for you to say hi.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining on a Sunday, and I think we'll have an informative conversation, and we can walk you through what's really happening on the ground. I think this information usually comes in the media 1 month after, but we want to share with you, what we're noticing and so you can better position, yourself as an investor, or if you're looking to still buy your first home as well. So maybe we can start from there, Ringo.
Yeah, the again, like our topic for this week is that do we see a soft landing
Hmm.
on the market right now? So my personal opinion is that I do see a soft landing because
Hmm.
when we're talking about, I have some listing on my hand right now. Okay, that I anticipate them to get like multiple offer,
Hmm.
but at the end they're not getting any.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, and also I have a lot of realtor friends that's complaining to me
Hmm.
that, oh, you know what, nowadays, initially we thought that we would have like 50 or 60 showing per at least like in the first few days. Nowadays we down to like 10 or 15 showings.
Hmm.
So what is really happening in the market right now in your opinion, TJ?
Yeah. So let me share a slide deck here. Um, Let me just share something here. Let me see if you guys can kind of put something together. So do you
Yep.
see that screen? So this is exactly what's happening, right? So the market is trying to find itself and it's trying to settle. And you're absolutely right, Ringo, that there is a shift in the market. Like if you look on the screen on the left, that this is a listing in Waterloo. These type of properties used to go over asking, right? And this property went under asking. It went to 635,000, was listed at 674. So it definitely went below the market, listing price, and actually below market. This house is almost close to like 700 plus thousand in terms of its value, or recent comparables. And on the right, in Whitby, a house went over asking, right? So I think a lot of buyers are still anxious to buy, right? And they don't know what's happening in the market. Usually, they get this information, you know, 30 days or 60 days after, when the media picks this up as to what happens the previous month. So the numbers from March would actually show up in April, right? And that's when the media will pick it up. This is what's happening. The market is cooling and so forth. So this is what's happening, overall in the market. And you're absolutely right. You know, I personally think there's a buyer's fatigue, right? Where a house, or all these pre-approvals that were there in December, and these buyers were looking at a house at, let's say, 1.8 million, and all of a sudden in January it shot up 2.1, almost 15 to 20% increase in a month. So those buyers, you know, do have some fatigue, and and not only that, we've seen a significant amount of increase, like especially in Brampton, right? We saw about 200 listings, close to 200 listings, or even less than that in January, and now we have a well over 1,200 listings in 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 Brampton alone,
Well,
right?
I think Brampton
Yeah.
took a huge hit in this year because I remember like one time you showed me that there was a townhouse that was being sold for like
Six. Yeah.
1.67 million, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
why is that happening? Like because I don't live in Brampton, I live in out
Hmm.
east there,
Hmm.
here in Markham.
Hmm.
Not trying to be racist, but like
Hmm.
Brampton is more of like
Hmm.
Indian populations,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Is it because that there are a lot of Indian that's immigrating to Canada right now, or what's your take on that?
I think it's overall, like, just the crux of the market. There's hardly any inventory, and a lot of people were just fighting over, a couple of houses. So when there's an inventory squeeze, and you inject FOMO in there as well, fear of missing out, you know, you know, the price can go as high as possible. right? So like the town was probably selling at 1.2 last year, and all of a sudden it sold for 1.6. But what we're seeing right now is like, the semis that sold for 1.5, 1.55. We are finding that, some of those houses are being sold for 1350 and even 1.4 now. So there is a correction. I wouldn't say this is a crash, but you know, those houses that sold like one or two or three houses, yes, they sold for over 1.5, 1.6. But that doesn't dictate, how the market, are those the actual prices? Right now, the prices are kind of somewhat coming down, and as you noted, right, people are not getting any offers now, even if they're putting the house below market value. That strategy that realtors use, that the house is valued at, let's say, 1.5, they're listed at 1199 or 999. Even 999 houses are not getting any offers as well, right? That's what I'm going back to. There's some buyer's fatigue, and there's a huge amount of inventory that's gone up. And I think tied to that, people have been sitting on their houses since 2 years now, COVID, and people were scared to actually, list their house or have people come into their house. So what you'll notice now with, the restrictions lifting, the passport being eliminated, the masks being eliminated on March 21st is my understanding, right? And especially in other provinces already done, right? I personally think there's going to be more supply coming in, which is good, which is actually a balanced market, and what we want is a balanced market, right?
Well, as a realtor, obviously, what we want is a balanced market, right? But however, are we going to see something like 2017 right now, or you don't think that's really the reality?
I think I think this can be a soft landing. 2017, came down suddenly, and that was primarily through legislation, right? Right now, uh, nothing really happened in terms of change. It just, the prices shot up way too fast, and now they're kind of coming back together. And prices need to consolidate at a certain area. There needs to be a number of sales to dictate, that is the price of the house. Like a price shooting from, let's say, 1.1, sorry, 1.8, like a house 1.8, and now a detached house is 2.1. There was not really sales between 1.8185 and 2 million, right? It just shot up, right, to over 2 million. So, that gap or those prices, still have to be filled up, right? So I think there is going to be, a small retreat to kind of, close that gap before, the price goes up or not up. But we don't know what's going to happen in April. I have been hearing that, there's some legislation coming in where for a second, for investment property, you have to put down 35% down, right? And there's another one that's possibly you can't use your HELOC for an investment property as well. So I think the first one comes out, I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on the prices, considering that a lot of people have a lot of equity in their house. But if the second one comes out with we can't use your HELOC, it could be 2017 again, possibly, right?
Well. Here's the thing. I think our real estate sector is really relying I mean, our whole economic sector is really relying on
Housing.
Housing, right?
Mhm.
I don't think the government want to have legislation that is being very tough to the point that it will crash the market. Okay.
Mhm.
Because you're seeing that. Oh, okay. Because just a few days ago, I think there's a trend. There's a picture trending on social media stating that for investment property right now we are going to need 35% down.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then what was the other rules again? I forgot.
You can't use your HELOC for an investment property.
Yeah, you
It's a
can't
down
use your
payment.
HELOC for investment property. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, well, like in my opinion, is that although we cannot really use HELOC for investment property, but then there's also a way that we can do it. For example, like I can ship it to you, TJ, and then you can pass it back to me as a gift letter.
Mhm. No. The
The-
one is you can't get it gifted. It has to be coming from you.
yeah. Okay. Let's just assume that really impulse. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think will happen to the market? Like,
Oh,
are we going to see like a dramatic drop, or you think that Oh, we still have the demand here.
I think there's still like genuinely fundamentally there is a supply shortage, with the like with houses, and this has been there since 2009, and this is not only Canada's problem, this is US's problem as well, right? I think we just started to make less houses after the last crash, right?
Yep.
And with the amount of population that's been coming in, immigration coming in, um, you know, longer term, like when you're buying a property, you always look for 5 to 10 year outlook, right? You're not day trading a property, right? So
Like what you do in stocks.
yeah, so that's sort of like to me, I see this as a good buying opportunity because you're not competing with other buyers out there, that want a specific property. So if you're in the market to buy a primary residence, there's never really a time to time the market, right? Like you just get in, and then overall, 10 years, you're overall going to be up, right? Even the people that bought in 2017, they're overall up now. It's been 4 years. They're actually making profit now, right? Even though they were negative equity for maybe a year or 2 years, right?
Well, I think there are people who bought in 2017 until now. If they are holding it right now,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they are probably going to make another like
yeah,
50%, I would say.
exactly.
50% off their property. So let's say if they bought the
Mhm,
property for 1 million,
mhm.
they can sell it for 1.5 million right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the things that I see that the trend is happening. Okay.
Mhm.
But something that is so weird is that the buyer fatigue is so phenomenal.
It
Like
is. It is.
what
It is.
like I would say that everyone is complaining surrounding
I
me. So
think.
whenever like whatever meeting that I went into,
Yeah.
they either complaining that their daughters or their son cannot get a housing, or they're complaining themselves that I cannot upsize to a townhouse.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
Mhm.
so that's what I tell them is that when you're purchasing your first house, why does it have to be townhouse,
Mhm.
right? And then people are complaining about maintenance fee and things like that. But when you have to pay like, let's just say that you have to pay like at least another like $2,000 mortgage per month for a freehold detached, I mean freehold townhouse, compared to something that is like uh not freehold, and then you have to pay like $300 and $400 maintenance fee with the same area size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, uh, uh like 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 people, I think people start to think about it right now because what I see is that the condo has been going up a lot recently. Okay.
It is because there's a gap, right? Like the detaches just went way out of the ballpark, right? They're almost 2 million now, right? And the condos are still around 1 million, right? So there's a $1 million gap between the two. And this will happen in 2017 as well, right? Like there's a huge gap between detaches and condos. So I still think like, if you're an investor out there, right, and you want to still get into the market, right? I think within Ontario especially there is value, to look at condos, especially in downtown. Like if I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of the companies are enforcing, especially Ontario provincial government, they're forcing people to come back to work 3 days a week, right? To Toronto. So this is the new trend. So you kind of have to go with the trend, right? Before it was COVID, stay work from home and all that, right? The new trend is going to be COVID's kind of in the rear view. What is going to come up next after this, right? So the work
Well,
from.
well, well, I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
It's not like I disagree with you on the fact, and also, it's worth to see that because like I own a property management company myself, and most
Mhm,
of my units that is being managed is in downtown, right?
mhm,
And what I realized is that there is a lot of renter application recently.
yeah.
Well, I don't see the rent goes up yet.
Mhm,
Okay, because my assistant sent me a report
mhm,
every single week in
mhm,
regards of how my property management company goes. But what I see is that when I look at the rental application, I was being so surprised on the fact that they might be new to Canada. Okay,
mhm,
but however, they are able to make an income of like 100 250K
mhm, mhm,
approximately, and I was like, wow,
mhm,
wow,
mhm,
wow. Like, wait, I don't think local can get 150K job easily.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm,
because I know few of my friends who've been working in, who was university graduate and who's been working in for 10 years,
mhm,
and they are still making it around like approximately six figures or a little bit over.
Mhm.
But the 150K job in Toronto right now, it seems like very popular nowadays, right?
But even before COVID, right? Toronto's becoming that tech hub, like that kind of Silicon, kind of valley type of, if you look at Google, Amazon, a lot of the companies are coming to Toronto downtown. There's a good amount of talent, within Canada, and especially when Trump was in office, I think Canada, I think Canada did a good thing of attracting a lot of talent, right? And I think
Yeah.
the U.S. lost a lot of talent that time too, right? So I think,
I don't think it's coming off from the U.S. I think it's more of coming off
international, yeah,
from international. Like I
yeah,
see people coming off from
yeah. Hmm.
India.
Hmm.
I see people coming off from the Middle East, and I think in the recent application, one of them is coming from Ukraine,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. But
So,
like COVID has shown like which countries are safe, right? I think people are looking for safety as well, right?
well, I think Canada really do a good job in terms of maintaining a safe environment.
Yeah.
I would say,
Hmm.
uh, uh, but 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 here's the thing: like we like about before our meeting is that people who come into Canada right now, they're not like what it was 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, whereas you have this Chinese millionaire coming in, but
Hmm.
it's more of like middle class that is a little bit younger than us. Actually, I think
Hmm. Hmm.
they're either in the age of like 25 to 35.
Hmm.
They're making good income,
Yeah.
and I think there, I honestly speaking is that the demand for detached houses is no longer there.
Yeah, I think kind of hit that point. Like if you look at it, right, an average house detached 2 million, let's say, right, you need 20% down. You need an income of 260,000 now, right, as a household income. Not many people have that. The foreigners that are coming in, potentially they do have that, and they probably bring cash as well, right? So I think like you're hitting that kind of ceiling point where that's where like Trudeau just recently said that they're not going to enforce any foreign buyers rules because they know that the only way to continue the housing market, they need foreign investment because I don't think us locals can buy that no more, right?
Well,
Especially,
I won't just blame on foreigner.
yeah.
But what I see is that especially in the commercial world, like when we are talking about commercial building that's like 100 million, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
I see a lot of influx of capital coming from around the world.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's not like local developer buying it.
Hmm.
Like I will say that there's a lot of people like I don't want to disclose a lot, but then I see that some of it is from the Middle East,
Hmm.
okay, and India. I realize that there's a lot of hot money coming in,
Yeah.
like TJ, like you have an Indian background, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
do you still have relative there that is like planning to come in or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think like it's just basically the whole currency game now, right? Like it's we're at the end of the kind of 100-year or whatever cycle that we're at, right? Where some currencies are going to die potentially, and right now there's a lot of devaluation happening, and people are looking for a home, right? To bring their money for their next generation, right?
Okay, but like, is it because, like, because what I think is that, like, I was joking around with one of the lawyer
Hmm.
that I always meet up with him for coffee, and he's around like 70 years old.
Hmm.
Okay, so I was telling him that, oh, you know what, I'm going to invest in Calgary, like so on and so
Yeah,
forth, because I think the price in Toronto is overinflated right now. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
and he was like, Ringo, are you serious?
yeah,
Are you going to abandon a market? Okay, that have the most hot money coming in the Western hemisphere.
yeah.
Do you
That's
get
true.
do you get what I mean by him?
Yeah.
Like, do you get his statement? He's saying that we have the hottest market in the whole Western hemisphere. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
In all of the English speaking country, we have the hottest market,
Yeah.
and you're telling me that you abandon it. And I was
Yeah.
saying, no, I'm not abandoning it. I'm just
You're
trying.
diversifying. You're diversifying.
Diversify. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just diversifying it. Right?
Yeah.
Do you really see that the trend? Like, what do you think about his statement though? Like,
I think Toronto is always going to be there because it's very diverse, and in terms of an economy, it's very diverse, right? But if you're going to be betting on commodities in the next cycle, where commodity prices are going to go higher, which I do foresee, especially with inflation and food and everything going up, right? I do see those provinces, picking up the slack in terms of their prices going up now, and they're just
yeah.
starting to go up right now, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, I just want to answer some of the questions first,
Yeah.
before we jump into the next topic.
Mhm.
So there is Sick Mum Mum. I think I know who she is.
Mhm.
Based on the result you're showing and expected further interest rate hike,
Mhm.
do you think there is a chance that the market will be shifted to become a buyer's market?
So I think, like, there's clearly a supply problem. We don't have enough inventory out there in terms of housing, right? But what's happening is I don't see them increasing the rates that much. I think structurally they cannot increase the rates that much, but there's a pullback, in terms of the Canadian mortgage bonds, right? Um, you know, it's called quantitative tightening, right? So there is tightening happening right now, and if that continues, right? And what I mean by that is, all our prices went up because there was a money supply. There was dollars chasing assets, and the government is rolling back those programs right now, and so if that continues, which I do foresee it continue, I would say a more of a balanced market, right? I don't see it being any buyer's market anytime soon until you know we kind of have enough inventory. You know houses are being built, and this is not a Canadian problem, right? This is a US problem as well. But until then, right, like, it's going to be more of a more of a balanced market. I would say, and that's why this is a soft landing. Like those prices that people bought in January, February, potentially there could be a negative equity. Maybe
Yeah,
for a year or
I
so,
think so. I think so.
right?
It's
Right, because
possible. It's possible.
they just, like, I saw a house like in Whitby, somebody had it listed for 12.99, they bought it for 2.3, which is, like, if you notice, like, a house is based 90% is motions, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
pay whatever price you want, right?
When people's sentiment is not there,
Yeah.
for example, when people's sentiment is not there, like yeah,
Yeah.
you have no idea like how much can it impact. Because
Yeah.
like a lot of people are mentioning to me that, oh, it's based on logic, it's based on what's the comparable, but at the
Yeah.
end is a no. Okay,
Yeah.
so here I'm going to show you like one of the property that I sold.
Mhm.
Okay, actually, let me share my screen for a second. Okay,
Yep. Mhm.
so I'm going to show you one of the property that I sold on basically
Mhm.
on January. Okay. And then when I sold it, a lot of the neighborhood was saying, "Oh, you could have get like another 50K more." Okay,
Because this
because
is
the market was keep going up, right? Because the
it's
market was
called,
keep going up.
it's called greed,
But then
right?
there is another. Yeah, it's called greed. Okay,
Yeah.
and then there's also another. Okay, let me go into it, and then I will show you what was happening in Stouffville. Okay,
Mhm.
because for this one, like we have hold on. So we have Stouffville. Okay, I will say.
But it's interesting, like, if you go on MLS right now, right? I can show you some of the listings. There's a lot of expired and
I know, I
so many
know, I know,
expired
I
and
know.
suspended listings right now. It's just I haven't seen this for the last year or 2 years since COVID, right? So there's definitely a shift if you just
Well,
look at
well,
MLS.
I'm going to show them
Yeah.
what was happening right now.
And this is, it's, I think that's what it is. It's just buyer's fatigue right now. I don't even think the interest rate's even making a detriment on this. It's just,
Really, like
yeah.
because at the end of the day, I do think interest rate do have an impact because people sentiment change.
Yeah,
Well, it
but the
doesn't
first
have an
one,
impact.
Yeah.
in reality, but people do change from time to
Yeah.
time. Like for example, like initially their sentiment would be like, oh, you know what, it's better than me keeping cash, okay, because the market will keep going up,
Hmm.
okay, like 10% per month. But
Yeah.
now they were saying that, oh, interest rate will go up. I might as well like hold back and see how it goes. And when
Yeah.
someone is when they're doing it, their relative and their friends are doing it the same.
Yeah.
You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like sheep, right?
So
Like, we're like a herd of sheep. We go in the same direction. So you kind of have to find your own way.
yeah. So okay. So this is the townhouse that I sold. Okay, it's 1.3. We were asking for 1.1,
Yeah.
and then it got sold for 1.37 million. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the owner was complaining that oh, my neighbor told me that I could have get something higher,
Yeah. But
and I was like,
now he's probably
and I
happy
was
then.
like,
He's
oh
probably so.
no, like come on, like don't stop being greedy, because that
Yeah.
house, if I were sold like 2 or 3 months ago,
Yeah.
I would have get like something like in between 1.2. Okay, they're
Yeah.
already getting around approximately like 200K above it.
Yeah.
But then here's the thing. Here's the thing.
But now how much is it?
Now I'll tell you something in the on the same.
Yeah.
So this house right here,
Hmm.
yeah, this house right here.
Hmm.
Okay, they asked for 999,000.
Terminated. Didn't sell.
Okay, and then they got terminated. They
Yeah.
terminated. Okay, and then not yet. Okay, and then they released it. They released it on the market for
What
I
point?
believe it was for Spofford. Okay, okay, let's just be fair. Sorry about the navigation.
Yeah.
I'm not that good in
This is
YouTube.
the thing. Like, you're a buyer, he did a good thing because as long as the
Okay,
sentiment is there.
so this two
Yeah.
unit. Okay,
Okay.
over
Okay.
here. So
Yeah.
they terminate on their market 999,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and then they terminate it because they are expecting multiple offer, like
Yeah.
how I
So it
did
didn't
it,
go
right?
through. Yeah. So what are they
It
listed at
didn't
now?
it didn't go through. Okay, and then now it's sitting on 1.2, and then still no offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because well,
Yeah.
well,
This
well,
is the thing. Basically, if you're looking to sell, you want to be in the right sentiment, right? Like, the sentiment is different now. Sentiment changed actually overnight, almost. Like, in 2 weeks, the sentiment almost changed, right? And we just don't know, like,
TJ, I'm
it
losing you.
just, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? I'm gonna go off video then, maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me
can
now?
you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hear you.
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, like what I'm trying to say is, definitely there's a shift in the market. Absolutely, with the sentiment. Like,
Yeah.
you can clearly see that yourself, right? There's clearly a change in the market, right? The behavior of the market is different, right? Right.
Okay, so before we go ahead, okay, there's this questions here from Jimmy T.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, he's asking market correction, possibly tightening by of regulation, increasing interest rate, allowing a portion of buyers buying pre-con at a big premium. Well, yes. It
Yeah, this
sounds like
is, you
it
know,
sounds like it's not impossible. There may be a steep drop.
yeah, yeah.
I,
Yeah, so this is where,
I don't
on
get his
the,
questions though.
no, no, no. So on the pre-con stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
I always find pre-con, it's basically interesting, and it's important, when you buy pre-con as well, right? So
Yeah.
pre-con is a futures contract, right? Right. It's basically, you're kind of paying a price right now. That especially on houses, like especially on condos, you're kind of buying a future price, right? Of where that price should be in 5 years from now, or whatever. So if you're buying pre-con, right, if you're able to close the property, right, then you have nothing to worry about, right? But if you're buying pre-con and you
Solely
you think,
because you want to flip it.
yeah, flip it, right, and assign it, it's risky, especially in this volatility, right? It is not a stable market right now, right? So you don't know which way it's going to swing or which way it's not going to swing, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
people made money on assignments right now because they're going with the market. But if you're going against the market, pre-con can really hit you hard, right?
Yeah, because pre-con we're talking about mostly is going to be 5 times of your money because you're putting like 20% down, and in some cases I saw people putting down like 5% down. right?
Yeah. But the thing
And
is,
they
like,
and they tell me that, oh yeah, Ringo, why can't you find me this deal that is 5%
yeah,
down? And I
yeah,
was telling them that, oh, why don't you look at the prices first
yeah,
before call it a deal? Because
yeah,
when they are asking you to put like 5% down,
yeah,
they are selling you at a premium of for
yeah,
example, if something nearby is selling for
yeah,
like 700 or eight hundred
yeah,
thousand, they're going to sell it by 1.1. So they
yeah,
are 40% inflate the above the market value,
yeah,
right? And also one thing that I really want to point out is that people always use what builder offer as the market price,
yeah, yeah. But that's
and
like,
they think that their builder have a lot of social responsibility
yeah,
that they are going to honor. Okay, do you
yeah.
get what I mean by that? Like
No,
they think that,
the builders like, if you buy that pre-con, don't
yeah.
think like you're only losing 5% or 15%. You have to close the property, right? Like if you don't close the property, you are liable for the damages to the builder, right?
Yeah, well, I have seen so many times throughout my career is that people buy Precon, okay,
Hmm.
and at the end of the day, for example,
Hmm.
especially for freehold town and freehold detached,
Hmm.
because the closing date is so short, right?
Hmm.
Because we are talking about possibly 9 months to a year and a half closing date.
Hmm.
So when they're buying Precon, let's say that they buying Precon and then they put down like 100K down payment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
typical of freehold.
yeah.
And then by the time that they really get the unit, which is a year after,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
and then they went into their appraiser, and then their appraiser was like, "Oh, you know what? Your Precon doesn't really worth that much." Okay.
Yeah. No, it's that too. And then right now, especially with the 10-year treasury yield that's happening right now, right? Like there are a lot of signs of a recession coming, right?
Yeah.
And during a recession, a lot of people lose their jobs. So if you're one of those people that bought pre-con and you lost your job, right?
Yeah.
That is very risky because at the time of closing, you need to have your job, right? Or else you're going to private mortgage or whatever. Yeah.
Both, right? At the time of closing, you have to have a job first of all,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
well, I assume if the job is safe, that's fine,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. But then also you have to make sure that the market is going up.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
and the and the government is stuck between the two spots because on one hand they have inflation that they have to control. Either they let inflation loose, right? They keep on bringing your cost of food and your milk. Milk has actually gone up in price. It's significant. Can't even believe milk actually went up in price. Usually it never goes up in price, right?
Yeah.
And then on the second hand, if they increase interest rates and now they're doing quantitative tightening, right?
Yeah.
They're slowing the economy. That means they're slowing the economy, right? That means they're pulling liquidity out of the economy, right? But that could turn into a recession, right? So
Yeah.
they don't want to
Because
go. So it's like a double-edged sword. They poke this way, they get hurt. They poke this way, they get hurt. So they have to find a balance of how they're going to maneuver.
yeah, I do. Yeah. You're right. Like they have to find a balance. Okay. So another
Yeah,
question from Jimmy T is that,
yeah, yeah.
however, there is also an opposite view by some agent preaching that the market will never drop. Only this is only wishful thinking from those who haven't entered the market yet. What is your thought on this view? Well, I
You know,
think there's a lot
so
of,
yeah, so I think like unless there's like a black swan event, like that something terrible happens in the stock market or some sort of liquidity issue, right? That will definitely impact housing, right? It doesn't even matter. Like stock market's the first one to go, right? And I do feel like the PE ratios and everything else in the stock market are significantly high, right? So there's definitely a problem in the stock market. A lot of smart money is moving out of the stock market, right? And so if there is some impact to the stock market, it will definitely have, economic, ramifications, including housing,
no, I
right?
think what he means is that like,
Yeah.
because you know that there is agents everywhere around GTA right now,
No,
right?
look, so those agents, so fundamentally, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, there is a problem with supply, right? We wouldn't have been at these prices where we're at right now if it wasn't a supply issue, right?
Well,
So
yes,
so so so
but
so so so
I
so
think,
so so,
yeah,
so housing is strong, right? There, if everything goes the way it is, it's impossible for it to crash, right? That's what I'm trying to say. But
yes,
the crash can happen, right? External forces, as well as saying, right? This the
yes.
Ukraine event, possibly
Well,
Ukraine.
Ukraine event, we have to
Yeah,
talk about it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But
because
but but I think there's a bigger,
because
larger portion where I think the first thing that to get hit would be the stock market. So
I'm not that good in investing stuff,
Yeah,
but I really pay
yeah.
attention on the economy right now.
Hmm, hmm,
We've seen that the oil price is going up
hmm.
dramatically. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's $150, $115 per barrel right now. Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
approximately around there? But I think what he is trying to say here is that
Mhm.
some agents out there is being like, no, I won't say they're unethical, but they're being like very optimistic about the market. And I get why some agents are being optimistic about the market, because when you are, well, for example, like TJ, you don't do a lot of resale,
Mhm.
but there was a period that I was being very optimistic about the market too,
Yeah, I remember
because
2017, right?
when I bring like 2 or 3 clients
Yeah,
all at once, and
yeah,
then I have, and I'm losing out on the multiple offer bidding. I was
yeah,
like, oh, you know what, the only way the market can go will be up. Okay, and
yeah,
that was
yeah,
back in like 2016,
yeah, yeah.
16, 17.
Mhm.
But I I think what he meant is that, like, how come real estate agent are being so optimistic about the market, right?
Yeah. So this is where I always go back to, right? You know, buying a house that's $2 million, and hitting that kind of glass ceiling with the ratio between your income and the price point, right?
Yeah.
You know, those prices could go down, right? Because they're so high up, right? As long as you're buying between the medium price, right? And if you look at, like, back to 2000, right? Right? When there is a crash or a correction or anything, right? Those prices that are outside of the medium price, the medium is like what is it, 1.2 or 1.1 million right now, right? Uh, you know, those starter homes, right? They don't tend to get hit as much because they're right on the median
Yeah.
price, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of consolidation, a lot of houses sold within that price range, right? Whereas right now in January, right, in certain areas, right, only 3 or 4 houses sold, over 2 million, right? And
Well, you have to
you
think
know,
about it. Who can afford 2 million house?
yeah,
Let's just
yeah,
be honest. Like,
yeah,
at
yeah,
least I cannot afford it.
yeah.
Maybe
No,
TJ can.
yeah, but for me, like, I always look at it long term, right? Even if I buy a house,
Yeah.
and I do have a pre-con as well, right? But the thing is, I know I can close it, right? Like I have the holding power to close it, right? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
taking a speculative risk on that one, right?
Yeah.
And but you need to make sure what you're doing, especially with pre-con, that, hey, can you close it?
I'll just be honest. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, if you buy pre-con, especially for freehold,
yeah,
detached,
yeah, yeah.
or townhouse, things that like take like 9 months to a year and a half to build,
Hmm.
then you have to be very careful, like,
Yeah,
because you have to make sure that you can close it. But
yeah,
when you're buying something that is like 5 years later,
yeah.
okay, then I won't say that you don't have to be careful, but then your risk tolerance can be a little bit more.
Yeah, because eventually inflation is going to go high anyways in 5 years, right?
Yeah,
So
especially with what happened in Ukraine right now.
yeah, yeah. So, like, we don't know where that's going to be 5 years from now, right? But yeah, I think you do have a point. The longer the duration of the closing, kind of the less the risk there is. But then you don't know what your circumstances is, right? Do you have a job? Are you healthy, right? So those things come in play as well, right?
Okay, so okay, another questions from Sigma Mom.
Mhm.
What is your take on the potential 30 to 35% down for all investment unit?
Yeah. So I think there's going to be some sort of legislation coming in, right? And the government's always behind the eight ball, right? Like the market is already shifting, the sentiment's already there, right? Like, it's kind of going, it's not that crazy as no more, right? But in the government's heads, they're always behind, and they always saw, like, reports from before where the market's going crazy and all that, right? So hopefully they do pick it up that there's already, a soft landing, right? And if they throw more, you know, fire on that, it could have a bigger soft landing, right? It's like, the house prices are already going up, and they already decreased interest rates and all that, and they added fire to the fuel, and it just went up so much, right? So similarly, like, if they introduce any of those rules, I think there could be, um, you know, uh, a soft landing. Not, I wouldn't say a crash, but maybe call it a correction, right? right? But I think that something is going to happen in April personally, and I think the 35% is on the table. I've been hearing that from multiple sources, right? Whether the other one is like you can't use gifted funds or a HELOC for a down payment. That will really kill the market, and I hope they don't do that. But that's also a one on the table as well for discussion, right?
Yeah, and also another things that worth to look at is that uh, um, another questions first before we jump ahead. 1 second. Okay. What is your take on the potential 30 to 35% down payment for all investment unit? I think we went through that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of people don't like to put 35% down, right?
Yeah. Will it be firm later this year? Like, do you think it will be firm?
I think if something's going to happen, it's going to happen in April.
April? Why?
That's usually when everybody gets together. That's usually when they enact legislation.
April. Yeah, I think last time their foreign buyer test was issued. I know happened in March.
March. But March, so April. March. Yeah. So they're having discussions right now.
Yeah.
Usually it gets enacted in April, right?
Okay. This is a very interesting question. Is it worth to invest on studio? And she was told that such unit are hard to be sold.
Yeah, I've always had issues with studios. I just think like between a one and a studio, especially the price difference, right? You do have to consider that as well. But if the price difference is not that much, I would go with the one bedroom as opposed to studio. It's just you're nearing your it's a very niche market, right? Especially for renting. Not only selling, right? Renting as well. You're targeting a niche segment now, and also from a selling point of view, you're catering towards a niche segment as well. So I try to stay away from studios personally, but everybody has to look at their budget, right?
Well. I have different point of view, to be honest. Because when you look at the type of people that is coming into Toronto right now, then they're not really a family.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Yeah. They're either like in between, like as I said, like 25 to 35, or even student.
Yeah.
Okay. So in a way is that we don't really need, like, for example, if you are international student coming into Toronto, okay, would you prefer to share a 2-bedroom with someone else, or you prefer to have a studio yourself?
Yeah, or you can have a 1-bedroom and then you can keep the living room. The other guy can keep the bedroom.
well, that's what you always like to do. But like, yeah. but just I think studio have its market, because given the fact that, especially with the birth rate being so low right now, and also people value convenience a lot, I think it does have a market. It doesn't have a market like I would say during the pandemic, because of the fact that all of us were from home. Mm-hmm. But as of now, I'm very optimistic that the pandemic, the lockdown, is finally over. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, like look what's happening in China. So we don't know if we're going to be back.
We have to live with it, right? We have to live with COVID. What happened in Hong Kong? China is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Then we have to. Then I think studio have a like the. I do think studio have some room to grow.
Maybe it's shifting right now, Ringo, but just my past experience, studios, I've been biased. Maybe it's my biased opinion on the studio, right? It's just, they haven't been as good for me personally, right? But maybe, due to the immigration and it could be a a different product right now, right? So that's something that can't really comment on it, but it's just my comment goes from 10 years from now.
Yeah. Okay. This guy Brandon. Okay, he's asking, do you think the situation in Ukraine will affect our housing market?
So I know we're probably in a difference of opinion on this one, Ringo, but personally, I think I think Putin it's in his benefit and the benefit to the world to just whoever wins, whoever doesn't win, I'm not sure what the end result is. But if it's a short term war and it does and it's not long lasting, and I don't think Putin wants a long lasting war as well, right? Like Afghanistan or whatever, right? Uh, I don't see this impacting us, but we do have impact on gas prices, or our price to go to the gas pump is higher, so it is impacting us indirectly, right?
Well,
And
I have different opinion on that. Like, because I
okay,
mentioned to you, like honestly, like, why do you think that Putin want to end the war easily? Like, let's just be honest. Like, let's just set it on.
wars are costly, so he just wants to.
Well, war are costly. Okay, I admit that. I admit that. But however, um, like Putin value economic benefit as worthness.
Mhm.
You get what I mean by that? Like,
Yeah, I
like in his opinion, he doesn't really care like whether or not uh the economy is going well or not, right?
Mhm.
So let's say like using my example is that let's say I'm the owner of Chelsea Club, Abramovich, okay,
Mhm.
okay. You Putin never would not care about how I do, like Abramovich, how Abramovich do,
Mhm. Mhm.
okay. All he cares is like whether or not he can go into the historical book, right?
Yeah, he's at that point where he's hitting like that
Yeah.
that 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 that
So
time of visit. He wants to go in the books, right?
yeah. So he's 70s right now, okay.
Yeah,
And obviously, like he is known as the greatest leader in Russia all time,
and he wants
as of
to
now.
and he wants to expedite his his journey, right? His agenda.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
agenda. So like unless he used nuclear weapon,
Mhm.
okay, or else why do you think the war is gonna end like
Like, so
in
this
a
is
day?
interesting, right? This is interesting times, right? Like, what if they go to somebody else right now and attack somebody else, possibly, right? Then it's going to be bad and it may impact us in Canada, right? Or China trying to take over Taiwan now because they see an opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
This is happening, right? So we don't know which way this is going to swing, especially, right? But I think like he's going to do his thing and get out and get whatever he needs from there, right? And you know, I think the next couple of weeks, we should know. And I personally think this is gonna just end soon, which is good for everybody. But we don't know what's gonna happen. No
I
one,
hope
no one has a crystal ball.
I hope it will end, but I think it will be long lasting, just like what happened in Afghanistan.
I don't think so. Yeah.
It doesn't so. Well, we will see
Yeah.
how that goes afterward.
Yeah.
One last question. Okay, I think I have to stop taking questions because I think it's almost end. It's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Jimmy T again. Okay,
Mhm.
if I hold investment properties in GTA,
Mhm.
is it time to sell and shift my investment elsewhere? Crash or not, it seems like it's volatile, or is still probably the safest to just ride a wave.
If you're not, like, at the end of the day, like, if you're losing money, I wouldn't sell, right? And if you're making money, right? Thing is, like, when you buy
Well,
property,
I have different opinion. If you're losing money and then you're making on the other side, like you get
yeah, if
capital
you
loss,
are,
right?
yeah, if you are, yeah,
You get capital loss, right? So
capital loss, yeah.
anyway,
But the thing is, for me, real estate is always about buy and hold, right? And if you buy and hold and just get cash flow, as long as your property is cash flow positive, right?
yeah,
I would hold that, right? But if it's negative cash flow, yeah, this is your opportunity to offload those properties, because I think the next 10 years you want something that's cash flow, and I think cash flow would be the unicorn, right? As opposed to chasing equity, right? I think the prices have gone up significantly already, and there's a lot of equity that's been built up. So if your property has gone up in price, great, that's a bonus. But if it's cash flow, why do you want to sell? You're getting a dividend, like a monthly dividend already, right?
well, I'll have another take on that. Is that well, you want that diversification.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know some people that own like 10, 15 condos
Mm-hmm.
or 10, 15 townhouses.
Yeah.
But obviously they're very rich now because the market went up by like 800%
Yeah.
from 1997 until now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
25 years, 800%,
Yeah.
800.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we have to look at it on the other hand is that when it went up by 800%, do you think that it's going to went up by another 800% in like another 20-25 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. Like for example, for detached to double right now, how long does it take? Before it was like 7 years to double it.
Mhm. But if you question yourself, like, we've been, you know, like who would have thought, like, a house would be 2 million, a detached house, but it is, right?
Well,
Right,
it's the
right,
norm. Like a
right.
townhouse costs 2 million.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you can find a 2 million detached house
yeah,
in some good area, let me know.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Pickering is above 2 million. All right. So let's just put it this way. I do think that if you hold because I myself is selling some of my properties in the
Yeah, yeah,
last few
yeah.
months. You know that, right?
I sold
But
as well. I sold as
yeah,
well.
yeah, because we see like we see like there are like we see another market like Calgary. There's a
Yeah.
very good one right now, and also we see that buying real estate is not just buying condo or townhouses
No, no,
or
no.
detached. You can also buy land. You can
Yeah,
also like be joint venture on a development.
yeah.
There's also a way that you can make money. I'm not saying buying condos is a bad idea or buying the townhouse is a bad idea, but you can diversify your portfolio by a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I remember that I was reading one of the entrepreneur Cousin Lee biography.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying that when the same model worked for 10 years, it's time for you to review it and ask yourself, is it time to shift your strategy to another strategy?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
We've been in a bull market for a long time, and it's been good for everybody, right? So,
well, we have a lot of factors that causing a
yeah.
bull market, but then we don't know if the factor is really sustainable or sufficient enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But anyway, I think it's a very good conversation. As
Yeah, yeah.
welcome TJ on board. I
No,
think
thank you.
he has to go and I have to go as well.
Yeah.
So for those of you who like my channel, feel free to give me a call. Okay. And also remember to subscribe my channel and also remember to follow my channel because we will have live every single week. Okay. So thank you so much. And it's time for us to go off and enjoy ourselves a happy weekend.
Thank you. Bye, Ringo. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. I think